Frankenstein's horny, alcoholic monster wants a mate in James Whale's Bride of Frankenstein. Will literature's greatest outcast find love? Let's review. The 1935 film stars Boris Karloff, simply going by Karloff at the time, as the monster, and ? As the monster's mate, though it's no real mystery who plays her. It's Elsa Lanchester, who also plays Mary Shelley in the film's opening. There's a neat wink to the audience when fellow writer Byron calls her an angel, and she coyly suggests that she's anything but. I love the intro with its thunderstorm and miniature castle. The air itself is filled with monsters, Byron says, taking inspiration from the weather. We're brought to a world where literature is taken seriously, and its creators are larger-than-life, highly sensual types. We get a quick recap on the story of Frankenstein, and are reminded of the simple pleasure of hearing a ghost story. What follows is a tale of two mad scientists and their quest to build a woman for Frankenstein's monster. And now it's time for A Random Owl Stares Unfazed at Horrific Things. This has been A Random Owl Stares Unfazed at Horrific Things. All the classic themes of Frankenstein are here. Man's desire to beat death, to play God, man's limitations in what it can know, questions of what man should and shouldn't pursue. As Frankenstein and the delightfully over-the-top Dr. Pretorius are arguing over the ethics and morality of creating life, I can't help but think of Ian Malcolm's insight in Jurassic Park.
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
I generally like the overall look of the film. I side with Seinfeld when he says,
"To me, there's just something about a monster in a blazer."
And I love the way a spooky forest that was built on a soundstage looks. The film has the kind of old-school practical effects that inspired one of my all-time favorites, Coppola's Dracula. The portion of the film that works best is the monster's brief friendship with a blind man. "I have prayed many times for God to send me a friend," the man says, speaking to the power of companionship and the desire to banish loneliness. The man and the monster are one and the same. Isn't the monster all of us? He hates his own reflection, feels misunderstood, and just wants to catch a tasty buzz and get laid. Who among us can't relate to the profound concision of
alone, bad, friend, good?
Well said, monster. Well said. If you're enjoying this video, why not like and subscribe? I post reviews of mostly older movies, so if you want to nerd out or learn something new, stick around. But this is Bride of Frankenstein. What of the titular bride? She's simply not in the movie enough, but the film's best suspense comes from waiting to see her revealed, and when she finally appears in the closing moments, she's a sight to behold. She screams and hisses, and generally wants little to do with the place and people around her. It turns out to be quite the bummer for the monster. Such a bummer, in fact, that he decides to kill himself, the bride, and Dr. Pretorius by destroying the lab with them inside. But Frankenstein and his fiancée escape, and then the movie just sort of ends. Overall, the plot and pacing leave something to be desired, but it's mostly good campy fun, with some poignancy between the blind man and the monster, and a pretty rad closer with the bride. Feeling a 3 out of 5 stars on this watch. Thanks for listening, and see you soon.